Hi, everybody. My name is Nisha Trivedi, and I'm a senior consultant with mbaMission. And today I'm here to talk to you about the Yale School of Management's essay in their MBA application for this year. So the essay question that they've asked actually for a few years in a row now is, describe the biggest commitment you've ever made. And this is to be done in 500 words or less. And you're probably wondering, well, why are they asking me this question? You know, what does this have to do with the MBA application process or my goals? Well, the purpose of this essay, according to the Assistant Dean of Admissions, Luis Delmonico, who we talked to last year, he really emphasized that the admissions committee wants to gauge the level to which candidates commit themselves. He feels that, and the admissions committee feels that, commitment is a dedication, it's a positive behavior. And so they want to see, how have candidates been with respect to commitment? And so with that, they worked with the Department of Organizational Behavior at Yale to come up with this question. So it's something that is very important for them to learn about the candidates. And in terms of which commitment you choose to write about, what your biggest commitment is, you have options. It can be, he was very clear that he doesn't have a preference. It can be personal or professional commitment. Either is fine. And whatever you choose, though, you want to make sure, to not be stressed about, well, I need to choose a commitment that's very different from what everyone else is writing about. No, it doesn't have to be 100% unique. In fact, it's the odds are pretty low that among the thousands of people applying at Yale, you'll have a commitment that's just completely different from what someone else in the admissions pool has, another candidate has committed to. What's important to realize is that, whatever you choose to write about, whatever you've committed to the most in your life, what your essay must reflect who you are. And so the commitment has to be something that you've genuinely committed to, not something that you necessarily, want the admissions committee to hear, but something that you feel, a commitment that you feel genuinely, defines who you are and has been, quite a presence in your life. That's what's to focus on. And also along with that, again, it's not so much about what the commitment is, what you pick. The admissions committee is less interested in that, the what of the commitment versus how you've approached the commitment. How have you gone about demonstrating that this commitment is important to you, and what behaviors have you demonstrated in doing so, in adhering to this commitment? That's really what the heart of what they'd really like to know about the candidates to the Yale School of Management. And when you're writing the essay, you have a couple of options in terms of the approach that you take. So first of all, you might have a specific theme. First, for example, maybe the commitment you've made is to the idea of personal liberty, and you've got a few examples in your life in which you've done that, or the value is helping others, and maybe there's a few examples that you weave throughout the essay in terms of how you've helped a struggling colleague at work, how you've led volunteer efforts at a local food bank, and how you've helped somebody in your family, with something important. So that's the idea of, there's a central theme of a commitment or an idea or a value that you've committed to, and then a few examples that reinforce that give proof that this is an idea that you have committed to. Or if you feel that, I have one story or one anecdote in my life that I feel really embodies the commitment I've made. Then, you can write about that anecdote and you can explain it in detail, but of course it has to, if you're relying on one story, maybe one incident, then you want to make sure that it's powerful and that you're writing about it in detail and how you've shown your commitment through that anecdote. And regardless of what approach you take though, you want to make sure that you're really showing how you've committed. After all, keep in mind the essay is not asking you, what is your greatest passion? What's most important to you? What are you most interested in? How have you spent most of your time? They're not asking those things. The questions are, somewhat related, but ultimately they're asking about, your biggest commitment. So what is commitment? In a word, it requires effort, and effort in a few ways. One is consistent dedication. Keep in mind all of the things you're juggling in your life. You've got work, you've got your, relationships, within your family and otherwise, you have hobbies, you have important things to do like sleep and exercise. We're all very busy people these days. And when you commit to something, whether it's an idea, whether it's an activity, or whether it's value, it requires dedication, throughout that business, throughout trying to balance everything that, goes on in your calendar. And oftentimes that dedication requires sacrifice. Maybe you're spending evenings and weekends working on a project. Maybe you're foregoing get-togethers with your friends. There are different things that oftentimes different trade-offs you have to make, certain sacrifices that you have to make to show that steadfast commitment, because it is something so important to you. And also throughout showing a commitment to something, you might overcome challenges. So, here's an example. Suppose you're committed to a cause and your mission is to raise, let's say, $50,000 for that cause. You're dedicated to the cause, but you might have the challenge of getting other people on board, other donors and sponsors. And so with your commitment, with the dedication and the moments of sacrifice and the challenges overcome, make sure that those, don't shy away from putting those in the essay. Make it very clear, because again, they're going to want to know not just what the commitment is, how you've committed to it, but how have you really demonstrated that you are committed. And you've demonstrated it through the effort that you've made, through the trade-offs you've made, through the tough choices you've made. So I would say definitely make sure that those are clearly explained in the essay as well, because it'll make the essay much more powerful, and it'll help the admissions committee understand that you are somebody who can make a commitment when it counts. So I hope that this has been helpful. Best of luck on your Yale School of Management application and your other applications. And if you want more insights, if you want more tips, definitely recommend that you visit mbaMission.com. They have all kinds of free resources, including our Insider's Guide, which is their insider guide on each of the schools, including Yale and many of the other top schools, as well as the complete start to finish guide, which is a guide that has a chapter on every single part of the application process, whether it's the essay, the resume, the recommendations. It's just super helpful. And if you want to talk to me more about the application process or this essay, sign up for a free consultation with me, a 30-minute consultation if you haven't done so already, and we'll talk about your profile and different application strategies. So with that, again, very best of luck, and thank you so much for tuning in.